Polygon has come out to explain to us how another game is, yet again, problematic. You know, if your first paragraph of a video game overview has the word problematic in it, the game better have something going on like hatred. You guys remember Hatred? It was a game that was pretty hardcore even for me. Or something like Manhunt, where the devs, on record, stated that they were disturbed when creating that game. Point is, the game should be pretty messed up if it's going to be problematic to me. Even then, games like Doom, where you're pretty much just slaughtering demons, they don't bother me, okay? So, what is this game? New World. An MMO about adventuring, teamwork, crafting, and combat. Right? Colorful? This doesn't make sense. You know what? Maybe it's darker. Like some crazy stuff goes down, like slaughtering children, right? It's the manifestation of the great white fantasy? Yep, gonna be one of those videos, so go ahead and sign in, click that subscribe button, like and share, and I can't wait to hear the comments on this one. It's gonna be good. So get right to it, and we'll get right to this. Great White Fantasy! What is that, like fantasy football for great white people? What is that, like a gathering of a bunch of old executives in a room? What's that called? Oh, a retirement home? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be here all night, but we gotta get to the article. No, this game is based upon New World Imperial Expansion. You know, like when we're talking about history and putting video games and combining them together and putting a nice little spin on it while taking some liberties. Who wrote this again? Oh, that's right, it was Polygon. Yeah, no, it's not about sharks. Although, I really wish it was. Can you imagine a game about Imperial Expansion, but it's just great white sharks that walk on land and have weapons? That'd be sweet! Call that the Great White Fantasy right there. So, yeah, it's about how people are racist, and it's a fantasy that plays out. I guess it'd have to be. What would a great white fantasy be? Okay, why are you using the word white? You know, come on, racism. I'm just not gonna misquote a guy, okay? It's the manifestation of a great white fantasy of virgin territory and new beginnings. I can't make this up. Here, okay, I'm gonna read you another part. I became part of a guild that creates our own culture, which can range from murderous warmongering to utopian idealism. Excuse me, Colin Campbell. He's the writer of this fine article. Let me explain something to you, okay? This is a video game. In video games, you can do whatever you want. You can do some crazy stuff that you would never do in real life. Okay, check this out. Home slice, fire up some GTA 5, run over a couple hundred people, shoot out with the cops, and get wasted several hundred times. But, at the end of it, you're still not doing that in real life, no matter how bad the game is. Because, you know, it's a game. Something fun, play. Fantasy. Not a great white fantasy, a fantasy that anyone can play. You racist. That's right. Black people, Asians, Mexicans, Russians. We can all play video games. You don't gotta be white to play them, okay? Alright?
Yeah, but Proto, that's not what he meant.
Stop. Stop it. Okay? I know. I like to do this to people who write very ignorant articles. I treat them like children because they act like children. They don't understand complex things like great white fantasies. But you know what? That would offend children because most children realize at an early age that Mario isn't real! Sorry about that, folks. 2 paragraphs in and I already want a strong drink. Or several. The game treads unwarily into a heart of darkness, like country of racist imperialism. Jesus. Oh my god. Is this article attempting to be extremely intellectual while claiming the game and imperialism is racist? You cannot change history, okay? We all know this. Much of the expansion of the old world didn't have much to do with racism, more like everything died as a certain country expanded. But then if we go a step further back, okay, you know, just couple thousand years back, you know, early Egypt, If I recall, there were these people called Jews being enslaved by the Egyptians. I don't know, something about Moses and let my people go. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just a minister here, okay? That's what I do. All right, I don't know nothing. But hey, that's cool, Polygon. You know, let's just call a game about our literal history. What was it? Great White Fantasy. There you go. Every time I say that, I think it's about great white sharks. And then I'm let down. As the writer puts it, the game is set in fictional landmass in the Atlantic, okay, located near the Bermuda. The time frame is mid-1600s. It's basically a game about colonization, which we have plenty of history books to read up upon. But check this out. There are no indigenous peoples, and according to the developer, Amazon Game Studios, it's not about the invasion of America. If there's not natives, then how's the game racist? Oh, because they're zombie-like people called the Corrupted, and they're on an island, and that they're hostile. Former settlers who became corrupted due to the island. I guess. They're semi-human. I don't know, zombies. It all makes sense now. White people killing them zombies. How dare you infringe on their culture? Also, where are zombies in early America? Let me just go ahead and reference my favorite historical piece of literature, Red Dead Redemption. Yep, checks out, zombies. Gotta say, this game went from a mundane history simulator to a perfect 10. God bless America. Basically, the indigenous people were susceptible to disease from new lands. New settlers come, get exposed to disease, they die, you know? But because they didn't build up their cities and didn't conquer the lands like Europeans did at times, the land was free to be settled by the white man. Alright, not really disturbing, more of a fact. Let me drop some biblical knowledge on you here. There was like a ton of wars. Even before the Great Flood, the very first book, Noah's Ark, there were wars, cities, built up a lot of evil, man, a lot of bad stuff. So to say that it's wrong to not build up a country or to build up a country, that's kind of silly. It's also making you susceptible to attack if you don't have a built up country. There is no American government at that time. The world was without an ultimate power. Therefore, a country expanding, invading, colonizing did not fall into the morals of murder. Currently looking back, we can critique, but back in the 1700s, the bigger the country, the better the chance it had to defend its people, to feed its people, and survive. And hey, wasn't there like, I don't know, some big plague going on around then? Nope, not at all. When asked about the world and how white people killed the indigenous people, the developer was shocked and answered with this. The lore of the game is that there is a tainted aspect to this world, that it's the Garden of Eden that was fallen from grace. Right, so it's not about white people coming and killing indigenous people with disease and taking their land. An interesting lack of racism there. Almost like this game actually isn't racist. Wow. The writer goes on to say this game is undoubtedly a violent expression of the 17th century Atlantic colonization and ought to be treated as such. So what? So what if it is? Again, GTA 5, you can choose to murder people left and right. So what? Who cares if this game is a violent depiction of history? History was violent. I think it would be very negative to depict the founding of America and the Americas as non-violent. I think that would make the game way worse personally and way more inaccurate from the developers. So good on them for making it a very violent game. So the writer continues on. It's interesting too that the New World is developed by a company as controversial as Amazon. From its treatment to its workers to its tax avoidance and environmental record, the conglomerate is arguably one of the most exploitative organizations in the world and aggressive colonizer in its own right. Oh my god, I almost couldn't even read that. Ooh, this guy isn't real. This writer isn't real. Can't be. Listen here, you idiot. You fool. From your clothes to your shoes you wear to the computer you wrote this idiotic article on. you likely benefited from exploitative practices, slave labor, terrible working conditions from people in factories, China, Taiwan, sweatshops, laborers. You benefited from some of the most unethical practices in the world, and now you have the audacity to call another company out over a video game depiction that has its own historical spin on what happened with colonization. Are you serious? At least they didn't put a woman with a robotic arm in a world war or anything. No one is silly enough to do that. He continues on. My own hypocrisy is at play here too. Oh, thank God, man. Oh my God, thank you, God. You know, I was real worried, guys. I was real scared that he was serious here and he wasn't even going to recognize how crazy he was talking. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe I was too hard on the right. Despite its grisly undertones, I find myself enjoying New World. Wait, what? You like the game? And that makes you a hypocrite? No. Writing this article makes you a hypocrite. Buddy, pal, cowboy, listen, you can be wrong. You can be totally wrong about assuming something and playing something and then changing your mind. That's fine. It doesn't make you a hypocrite. Benefiting from slave labor, then casting the developer out for other egregious actions makes you seem like a complete hypocrite. Again, you know, exploitive in nature. That's what you're emphasizing here. Yeah, slave labor is pretty exploitive, and I'm pretty sure your clothing and your shoes and everything else wasn't made by your own personal hands. From playing New World for an hour or so, I can say that it does a lot of basic game stuff right, that Gilmore and his team have clearly played a lot of other MMOs and focused on the things that work. Straight from slamming the developers for racism and being Amazon to, hey, it wasn't so bad for playing 1 hour. What caused all this? I'm really confused how it went from a blank slate of a game to Great White Fantasy. Seriously. Oh, man. The writer closes on this. I hope the game finds a way to properly confront the complexities of historical inspirations. I think it will give the world a good measure of enjoyment and maybe introspection too. Introspection of history? Yeah, we kind of learn this stuff in school. You don't go to another country and slaughter the natives. It's a pretty basic idea here. What else do you want people to think on? History is history. There's nothing we can change. Currently, I would say that it's been a long time since another country was slaughtered and conquered entirely by imperialism. But hey, what do I know? Woo, so what did we learn today? That once again, Polygon proves it looks at games immediately as problematic if the game addresses real historical events and then puts their own spin on it. Its writer, Polygon, enjoys Great White Fantasies. We learned that too. Oh, and if you go down to the comments below the article itself, it's filled with people wanting more people of color representation, and there's a lot of self-loathing for the Great White Fantasy there. Unless you're a racist, you really should not feel bad about playing a video game that addresses historical events while taking liberties. Stop feeling bad for things you had nothing to do with. You were not born in the 1700s. You did not contribute to the genocide of natives. You shouldn't feel bad for something you had nothing to do with. That's ridiculous. I don't know what else to say. Click subscribe, click like and share, put your comment down in the comment section below, and stay tuned for another video where my eyes will literally do this. As my head's spinning, I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack and die. Maybe that's more attributed to me needing to lose more weight or the stress in my life. Either way, I've got to go ahead and take a breather. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I want to thank you for tuning into this one. As always, good gaming, God bless, and I'll see you next time.